Hey, Chaotic Crew, Brian here. We just got some Avatar: The Last Airbender spoilers, and a really unique, fun card I wanted to do a build around was the Cabbage Merchant. Obviously, if you're a fan of the show, you know that my cabbages. Famous line there. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, create a food token. So you're generating lots of food here in the deck, and then whenever your creature deals combat damage to you, you have to sacrifice a food token. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword there, and then you can tap 2 untapped foods you control, add 1 mana of any color. So makes a lot of mana. For 3 mana, you get this card. It's a 2/2. Not really going to do much with those stats, but essentially you're just going to get lots of mana and be able to, get a lot going here. So I've run some artifact synergies, some big mana synergies. Let's just dive right in. Nissa is standing at Animist. It's kind of a game ender here. We do like it. It draws us, or excuse me, it makes tokens that can block, it can destroy artifacts or enchantments, or at the end of the game can buff our creatures +1/+1 for each forest we control, and gain tramples. So we do run a lot of forest in here. That is going to do a lot there. But moving on to the creatures, we have a pretty solid package here. Caddy Manufacturer going to be probably one of the best cards in this deck. We are going to be making clues and treasures each time we make a food, which is pretty great. Draw cards, mana as well, all just fantastic abilities there. Apex Devastator, another big mana threat, gives us 4 other free spells on cast, so just love that in general. Bristlebud Farmer, it's a 5/5 trample, going to give us 2 foods when it enters, and when it attacks, we may sacrifice a food. If we do, mill 3 cards, put a permanent from among them into our hands, so just synergizes with the deck really well there. Delighted Halfling to get our commander out on turn 2, but also good for some of our later spells that we want to cast. Displaced Dinosaurs, gonna make all of our foods into 7/7, dinosaur creatures in addition to their other types, so really gonna be able to flood the board if our opponent's casting a bunch of non-creature spells. Really love that there. Elvish Mystic, like I said, another way to get our commander out on turn 2. Enraged Forerunners, another, game ender here, pretty much just going to be buffing our creatures up. You're most likely not going to kill everyone at the table with this, just maybe 1 or 2 people. And I didn't want to just go Craterhoof, right, because Craterhoof I feel like is kind of said and done. This card maybe is able to punch in for, maybe exactly enough, or I don't know. It makes games a little more exciting, gives your opponent more of a chance. Sometimes Craterhoof feels like you can't really do a whole lot against it, where Enraged Forerunners is a lot more manageable. Feasting Hobbit, Devour Food 3, so when it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice any number of foods. It gets 3/1/1 counters for each food you sacrifice, and then creatures with power less than Feasting Hobbit's power can't block it. So you can just make this thing huge and then swing in later. Feasting Troll King, 6 mana, 7/6 with Vigilance and Trample. When it enters, if you cast it from your hand, you make 3 foods. Love that. Then you can sacrifice 3 foods, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield only during your turn. This is just going to be a great beater in this deck. Going to do a whole lot for us. Making foods and being able to just bring it back is just fantastic. Galanra Call of Wirewood is a mana dork that we just have in here, just to draw a little extra cards. I think card draw is really important in this deck, making sure we can keep using that mana that we generate, right? And it's pretty good there. Gilded Goose, gotta have it in here. It makes foods and it gets our commander out a turn earlier. Honored Dray Leader, another just big beater for all the foods that are going to be entering, right? So that's really good there. Kogla the Titan Ape, when it enters, it fights until 1 target creature you don't control, so it's decent removal there. Whenever it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls, so that's fantastic. And then you can return a human you control to its owner's hand. Kogla gains indestructible, so if someone board wipes with your commander on the battlefield, Kogla just helps save your commander right there, and potentially itself as well if it's not an exile board wipe. Llanowar Elves, again, another way to get our commander out a turn early. Osier Kozilek, Deepest Growth, just fantastic card to get free stuff off the top of your library, and then obviously going to be able to flip it back into Osier Kozilek pretty easily. Peregrine Took just makes double foods, and then also as card draw, right, we can sacrifice 3 foods to draw a card, not before using those 3 foods or 4 foods to make 2 mana with our commander, hopefully. Saren Steel Seeker is a really fun card. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you can reveal it and put it in your hand. If you don't put the card into your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. So this can be kind of semi-card draw or like even surveilling, right? Which is pretty kind of the best of both worlds there. Just very good at here for rummaging through the deck. Put things in the graveyard you don't need. Scavenging Ooze, you know, pretty much a staple in any green deck. I think Graveyard Hate is important in any deck, and this is probably one of the best mono green cards to do it right here. So love Scavenging Ooze there. Silverback Elder, you know, helping us gain life, helping us ramp out, helping us or get the lands out of our deck and thin the deck, or helping us destroy artifacts and enchantments. Really solid in the deck. Just a good stuff green creature. Stridehanger Automaton, thought creatures you control get +1/+1, and if one or more artifact tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional 1/1 Thopter artifact token with flying are created instead. So really just, you know, helping you get blockers as your opponents cast non-creatures as well. Sarak and Gorkwa, trample other creatures you control, trample when another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and gains haste. So this is just a way to give some of our creatures haste. Sir Ginger, the Meal Ender, has trample, hexproof, and haste as long as an opponent controls a planeswalker. Whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Sir Ginger and scry 1. So if someone does damage to you, you have to sacrifice a food. Sir Ginger gets bigger, that's always nice, or if you sacrifice it to gain life. And then you can gain life equal to its power later on. Teething Wormlet is pretty nice there. Has Death Touch if you control 3 or more artifacts, and then whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. If it's the first time this ability resolved this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Teething Wormlet. So really good there. Tireless Provisioner makes food or treasures. This is a deck where food actually might matter there. Tireless Tracker makes you clues, so you know, you can draw lots of cards. Titan Ministry is just a you know, top end payoff. Destroys artifact enchantment, gains 5 life, make a Rhino or give it a shield counter. It's got reach and trample, so it can block some of those pesky flyers. And yeah, it does a lot there. Vaultborn Tyrant, also great. We're not running a ton of big mana spells, right? So this isn't always going to be doing well, but it's a 6/6 that draws a card and gains you 3 life when it enters and can replace itself when it dies. So really great there. Tough Cookie is just another food that we get sacrificed, but it has a activated ability to pay 3 mana to make our foods into 4/4 artifact creatures. So if we just have a lot of mana towards the end of the game, we can do something with that. Sorceries, we're running 10. We've got, of course, you know, the Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, 3 visits. We're also running Return from the Wilds to ramp us while getting a food token. We can also get a human if we just need a blocker, right? If the board's pretty scary and we need a blocker, nice to have an extra one there. We're running, you know, Revive the Shire to bring a permanent from our graveyard to our hand, and we make a food token that way as well. Audience with Tristani is going to draw some cards, right? We'll make a plant, and then we draw cards equal to the number of differently named creature tokens. Oh, it's creature tokens. Never mind. We're checking this out. Just took that out for regrowth. See, sometimes when you're building decks, you just make mistakes like that, and you're like, oh, I didn't read the card all the way. But yeah, regrowth, just another way to return cards from a graveyard to a hand, is going to be nice here. We're running Harmonize to draw some cards. Giant Opportunity is fun. You can sacrifice 2 foods to make a 7/7. Otherwise, you're making 3 foods for 3 mana, so I really like this card a lot. Azuri's Predation is really great. It's kind of like one of the only green board wipes. We're making a bunch of tokens and fighting a bunch of opponent's creatures. It's not going to kill everything, but it will kill a lot, and we can get to 8 mana pretty quickly with this deck, so this could also, you know, turn 5 even potentially, like really turn the game on our opponent's heads, right? Thunderous Debut is also a really great card. You bargain it by sacrificing an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast it, so obviously we're sacrificing a food. Look at the top 20 cards of your library. You can reveal up to 2 creature cards from among them if the spell was bargained. Put the revealed cards on the battlefield, otherwise put the revealed cards into your hand. So, you know, essentially we've got a good set in here of getting maybe like a cheap creature and a big creature, just a way to sort of put some stuff for free onto the battlefield. Nothing is crazy, but if we can get something like Enrace Forward Runners and Honored Dray Leader, like that could be cool. But yeah, that's something to think about there. Just a fun extra card here to make this deck even more fun. As far as like instants, lots of removal here. We also are running like Obscuring Haze and Fog, right? Our commander, we had to sacrifice foods whenever we were dealt combat damage, so having ways to prevent that is really nice. We're also running, Nature's Claim, Beast Within, Collective Resistance as removal and protection. Heroic Intervention is also good protection. And then Paw Patch Formation can destroy something, a creature with flying and enchantment, or it can just draw us a card and create a food token if we need that. So that's nice there. And then artifacts, we do have a lot of those. Emerald Medallion's great. Just a green deck is fantastic. Golden Egg will replace itself, right? It'll draw a card, and we can also tap it to add mana of any color, not just using its ability, but with our commander's ability. You can tap any food, any 2 foods to make a color. Mana, that's really great. Limbus is really the same way. It scries 1 and draws a card when it enters, so it replaces itself that way, and then it shuffles itself back into the library, so really great there too. We also are running the Swifties, the Lightning Greaves. A fun thing we are doing is Idol of Oblivion to help us draw some cards, and it's a great mana sink later in the game too if we just have a ton of mana. Idol of Oblivion, does a lot of work, right? And especially paired with Unwinding Clock, you can draw a card potentially on each person's turn. So that's really great there. Trading Post is also great to essentially sacrifice our artifacts to draw cards. Or we can, make goats, right? Those are kind of the 2 main things we would do here. Throne of Eldraine draws us cards, adds extra mana. Really, Nettle Cyst is a great way to sort of buff up one of our really small creatures, or even one of our bigger ones with Trample, right? And kind of get in there, get in our opponents and do some damage. Ingenuity Engine is sort of another top-end card, right? It's a Cascader, but you can pay 1, tap it, sacrifice an artifact to return an artifact you control to its owner's hand, which is most likely going to be Ingenuity Engine, right? And you can just keep doing that over and over and over again, depending on how much mana you actually have. So that's fun there. Enchantments, we're running 6 of them. Garruk's Uprising to give our creatures trample. Occasionally it's going to draw us a card, but not that much. Killer Service makes 3 food tokens, essentially. Beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 and sacrifice a token. If you do, create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior, which is nice. Lurking Predators kind of plays off of our, opponent's casting spells, right? We don't have a ton of creatures, but getting free spells every now and then is always great. Love that. Knights of Sweet's Revenge is another way to sort of end the game, right? And it creates foods, and it makes our foods tap for 1 mana instead of having to tap 2 foods for that. So there's that. Wild Growth accelerates our commander getting out there, and then Song of the Dryads is another fantastic removal spell in green. Last but not least, we have the lands. Nothing crazy here. We're running Pit of Offerings as, Graveyard Hate. We are running Ghost Quarter as Land Hate. Otherwise, Emergent Zone to cast things, at instant speed if we have some extra mana to spend. Inventor's Fair, we are getting lots of artifacts, so we can eventually use this to get up one of our really strong artifacts, like Engineering Engine, Unwinding Clock. I didn't even mention Inspiring Statuary, but that's also great too, to give our non-artifact spells Improvise. So really great there. But we're running, pretty much Bonder's Enclave to draw cards, Fountain Port to draw cards, War Room to draw cards, Mossor Bridge to help out as well, and just being able to do stuff. And then Shifting Woodland can get stuff in our graveyard. It can become a copy of something in there, right, if we need it. So that's really nice there. But yeah, that's the deck. Let's play it out real quick and see how it goes. Okay, we'll keep this hand. We'll start turn 1. No acceleration immediately into our commander, but that is a-okay. We'll go turn 2. We get, not a forest. Play Idol of Oblivion, right? Turn 3, gotta play our commander. Come on. Okay, we'll say we maybe made 1 food that turn. We could, that turn cycle, we could draw a card, and then drawing for the next turn. Play this forest. Knight of Sweet's Revenge to give us another food. Now we have 2 foods that can tap for 1 mana. Draw a card. Nice. And we just keep the cycle going. Essentially, we're going to get to a point where we can play this Displaced Dinosaurs, and then make 3 foods, or we can go ahead and make 3 foods now. We're getting to a place where, we're just going to keep filling our hand back up, which is nice. And Knights of Sweet's Revenge was really good too, but there's no 2-drops unfortunately we could have played. But that was a good hand. Let's see if we can get one that's maybe a bit faster. No real good lands there. Nope. Okay, this is better. Yeah, we'll keep this, and let's say we were just doing that. Let's go ahead and move Feasting Hobbit to the bottom, because we actually don't have a lot of ways to make foods right now. So that card doesn't really do a whole lot for us. So turn 1, we draw a forest. Love it. Delighted Halfling. Next turn, turn 2, forest. Tap 3 for our commander. Okay, very possible that someone else uses a ramp spell or something, we make a food. So, always very possible. Emergent Zone. Tap 4 for Bristlebud Farmer, make 2 foods. So we have 2 to 3 foods right now. We could Fog. If someone tries to attack us, that's always a possibility. We would pass the next turn. Next turn, we get another forest, so then we can play Gingerbread Cabin untapped and get a food that way. So we have 2, 3, we probably have 4 or 5 foods at this point, so we can make 2-ish mana. So we will definitely have enough for Titan of Industry, which we would play, and then the following turn, or potentially Nissa, just, we can play Nissa on 5 and start ticking her up, or on 6 and start ticking her up, right? So that's something we could do there, and keep a mana open for Fog to protect Nissa. That's something we could do. Yeah, no, all 3 is all great. We've got a great hand right here. If we get some card draw, that'd be helpful, but this is still pretty solid. Let's do one quick other game, right, just to see how it plays out. Sure, I'll keep it. No acceleration, but, we do have a decent amount of land. Forest, 3 visits. And it's any forest card. There's a couple cards in here that are actually forest. So let's go ahead and... Well, actually, we don't need to. Let's just grab a regular forest. If we had a Gingerbread Cabin, we could get that and get a food. But no. Alright, turn 3. We get the forest. We tap 3 for our commander. We have 1 left over for Nature's Claim if we want to use it. We're probably potentially gonna be getting 1 or 2 or even 3 foods, so or more, right? Especially if you're playing against a Spellslinger deck, you will get lots of foods quickly with this. Okay, we could pay Killer Service to make 3 foods. We can, later cast this as well. Limbus, Tireless Tracker is great too. We could have done that to draw more cards. We also have Harmonize to draw some cards, so we've got some good options here. To refill the hand if we just look at the top 3. Honored Dray Leader is great. Obscuring Haze is fantastic here, right, just to help protect us. This deck is not going to look very threatening, Maybe we'll play 1 creature that's a threat, and people aren't going to be worried too much about our board state. That's what I love about the Cabbage Merchant, right? You're kind of just doing your own thing. People attack you, you lose your cabbages. It's very thematic for what it is. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Obviously, can't really do a whole lot of, Atla spoilers since we don't have nearly close to any of the cards, revealed in the set. Just some fun, interesting commanders. But yeah, I don't want to do like any of the water bending, air bending, fire bending, earth bending stuff, just because there's going to be more cards that go with that in the set. I think the Cabbage Merchant is very much a standalone kind of card that we could have done a spoiler for. We'll probably go back to, Final Fantasy. There were so many commanders that we could have built in there, and we didn't. So might go back to there, might go back to Edge of Eternities, and just see what other fun decks we can go build. But make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our pre-con upgrades, giveaways, anything like that. And otherwise, y'all have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.